Okay, I'm going to do the exercise now. For the 3rd of June exercise that you have to try by yourself. It says here that we must create a new unit to define a class. CLSPHS_U. So we have to save it as that. So we're going to go to our program now and do that quickly. So we go to File, New, Unit. Unit. And we save it as File, Save As. We make sure it's in the same folder, which it will be. So we write the file name here. And the file name is CLSPHS. CLSPHS.PAS. PHS. Alright, so we save it. Now it's in the same folder, and then we're going to call it TPHS. But first we have to put in uses. Then we have to put in the type, and it's TPHS equals class, and then you press enter. And now you type private, and you type the word public, and inside private we have to make some fields, and they are if name, if gender, and if score, string, char, and integer. If name, string, if gender, char, and if score, integer. Right, now we're going to write a constructor create, which receives a name, a gender, and a score. It's going to receive a string, a char, and an integer. So under public, we have to say constructor create, and in brackets we have to put now parameters. The previous constructor we wrote yesterday didn't have parameters, now we are. IsName, string, semicolon. Remember how to write parameters in your methods that you create, and a character for the gender, so I'm going to say cgen char, and for the score I'm going to say I score integer. There's quite a lot of parameters. Highlight it, Control Shift C, and then we have to follow the instructions, what we must do with them. Initialize those fields, so in other words, set them to 0. Fname, no, not set them to 0. Initializing them means that we are going to say fname equals sname, fgender equals cgen, and fscore equals iscore. Okay, so that's what we are going to do. When they say initialize the private fields, because this constructor has parameters, we must know that we are going to say the f private field is going to be equal to the corresponding parameter variable. And f score is going to be equal to I score. It's important to note that we are initializing them to the variables that are coming into constructor create. Okay, next thing. Now we must have a method. We've done the first one, constructor create, initializing the private fields with those parameters of the constructor. Then we have a method named setName. Now setName is going to be a procedure because it's set. So let's go and do that. It changes the name of the contestant to uppercase. Oh, sorry. The contestant for this Mr. and Miss personality. So I'll say set name. Oh, it's procedure set name. Sorry. Procedure set name. And it's not going to have any parameters. All it's doing is setting the name to uppercase. Control Shift C, and we say f name equals uppercase in brackets f name. Alright, next one. Write a method named getScore that returns the score of the contestant. So that is a function because it's getting, returns and it's getting. Function getScore colon. Remember, you have to have a colon for a function and the data type that that function returns. And we highlight it, Control Shift C, and we say result equals f score. It has to return that private field value. So getScore is going to hold the value of f score when we use this function called getScore. Next one is to write a method named getGender, which returns, so it's in a function, as a full word, male or female. GetGender. So let's go and do that. Function getGender colon, a full word, so it must be a string function, eh? String. Control Shift C, and now we're going to say if fGender equals if uppercase. Now remember, fGender is a character, so we use uppercase with character and uppercase with string. If uppercase equals f, a capital F, then we say result equals, and then we write female, else result equals male. Okay, there's your function written result equals. So I want it to be uppercase. I suppose we should say if uppercase, if we want to be exact. Then result equals. But else is fine there. You don't need begin and end because this if statement is one long statement. There's not two things happening in else. Eh? It's one long statement on its own. We actually can write it one line like that. Right, next thing. Write a method named determine popularity. Must calculate and return the popularity of a contestant based on the score of a contestant. Based on the score. Medium, high or low. High, medium or low. High is a score of 8 to 10, 5 to 7 is medium, and low is 1 to 4. So determine popularity, we're going to look at the score. Now determine popularity, is it a function? It's calculating and returning. So therefore it's a function because it's returning. The word calculate doesn't mean that it's a function. The fact that it's returning an integer, 5 or 7. Are we sure it's an integer? We have an 8 to 10, 5 to 7, and 1 to 4. Those are integers. 8 to 10. Oh no, it's going to return a string. It's going to look at the function, the score, the f score, which is an integer, and return high, medium, or low. So it's going to return a string. Doesn't have any parameters because it's working on f score. Control Shift C. So case F score of 8.10 colon result equals high. I like to use case instead of a whole lot of nested if statements, less typing. 5.7 colon result equals medium. I'm supposed to write it in capitals, but never mind, I haven't got time for that. And then 1 to 4, 1.4 colon result equals low. Right, so there's your function written. Next question. A method named twostring which returns a string. It contains the name of the contestant, the score as well as the gender of the three separate lines. We've got to use get score and get gender because we've got to show get gender. We want to have not F, we want female, not just a single F. And the get score, we're going to use that function get score. There's a method get score and there's a method called get gender which we're going to use in twostring. So this is a nice example of using methods within methods. Okay, so let's do that. Function twostring. Colon string. And then you highlight it. You do Control Shift C. And now we're going to go and name, score and gender. I'm just checking out. Result equals name plus F name plus #13. I like to put on different lines, plus score plus int to string and get score. They said we must use get score, okay, even though it doesn't really make much sense because we've got F score there, you know, but they say use get score, even though all we have to do is write F score. I know some of you would do that, but then you'd lose marks because you haven't used get score, you lose 1 mark. So you have to use get score here, regardless, even if it doesn't make sense. Well, it's valid. I mean, you can do that, but because the instruction says that you must use get score, you better make sure you use that. Otherwise, that's a mark lost. And then gender plus get gender. You have to use the get gender function. Can you see where's the get gender function? Where is it? There it is. Result equals female, result equals male. Okay. Funny, they didn't tell us to use the set name. Oh no, we haven't used set name yet. We've used set name in the main program. So there's the method called twostring written. Now we're going to use the main program. Create a global variable belonging to the class of tphs. Right, so I'm going to make a global variable in my main program. My word. So there we go. There's the main program. We can either put it under private here, tphs Pearson. I'm going to call it Pearson. Person. Pearson colon tphs of that type. Now, can you see there's a red underline? Why? It's because I haven't included the class in the user section. So I'm going to go and do that quickly. CLPHS, CLS, there it is. We're in the main program now, hey? There, see? There's CLS, PHS, there, and there's that, and then that, and that. Okay, now the next instruction is to get input from the form. Well, create a global variable, get input from the form, write code to test that the user has typed an integer for the score from 1 to 10, an error message, so we can use val. You're going to call the class method to create an instance of that object, that's meaning you're going to use the constructor create. So the first thing I'm going to do is got to make sure that the points in this edit box here, edt rate 1, edt gen, edt names, name a, anyway, val edt rate dot text comma rcode rnum comma rcode. I'm going to val that edit box contents rate 1 dot text. Rnum and rcode haven't been declared. I'm going to go quickly and do them. We want to test to see if that edit box has an integer in it. So we write val and then we say if rcode is not equal to naught, then we'll be doing begin and end. Enter an integer for the score, and then we will exit. I'm not going to worry about spelling right now, okay? I haven't got time, this video might be too long. Right, now we're going to go and call constructor create, but we're going to use this Pearson, which is an object of that type. So we say Pearson equals tphs dot create, and in brackets we have to put contents. Now I never declared any variables. Yeah, I mean I didn't use variables to get input from the edit boxes. I suppose I could do that here. rrate equals, I'll do it for the one, rrate equals string to int edt rate 1 dot text. So I've got that one. The others I'll just use the edit box contents to go and fill in the parameters. First up, see the tooltip comes up. First I'm going to put a string, then a char, and then a score. So for the string, edt name a dot text, name a, I don't know why, dot text is for the name, comma. The next parameter is the first character that comes out of this edt gen dot text square brackets 1. You have to put a 1 because it's going to be a 1 character, and that is a char data type in the parameter list of the constructor create. Remember, it was a string, char, and integer, so I had to use 1 in square brackets there, and then I can put in rrate here, because that's an integer. Okay, so string, char, and integer have to go to constructor create. Then we have to go and do call the class method to create this object. Done that. Clear the Richard and call the class method to set the name in uppercase and then display. Right, so we're going to go and set the name in uppercase of this Pearson person, and that means we have to call the class called get name. Let's go and have a look at our class definition quickly. There we go. Set name, sorry, set name. We have to say set name. We have to use this procedure set name, which is going to take the private field f name and turn it into uppercase. But you don't just say set name, you have to say Pearson dot set name, and that's going to do the job. So whenever you use any of the methods over here in this class definition, you have to use the object name that we've declared as being of the type of that class. So I'm saying Pearson.setName, and then we have to do What else do we have to do here? Display the name, gender and score on the, as in the screenshot. Fine, we'll do that using twostring. And where's it going into? It's going into the rich edit. Clear the rich edit. So red output.clear. If they tell you to clear rich edit, it means that you're going to lose a mark if you don't. Items dot add, and then we're going to call the twostring. Now you don't just lines dot add. You don't just write twostring there. You've got to say Pearson dot twostring. Now you can put twostring in there, Pearson dot twostring in here, because twostring is a function, and you can put it in the rich edit dot lines dot add statement. Not so. Right, next thing is to call the appropriate class method to determine the popularity, and then display the popularity as in the screenshot on the next page. Let's go and see. Popularity for the equals. So we have to display a line and call that popularity function. I don't know it's a function. Well, I sort of remember. Where is it? I'm in the class definition here. Calculate score. I called it calculate score. It's supposed to be determine popularity. Calculate score. It's supposed to be that. It's supposed to be determine popularity. I called it the wrong name. Never mind. We're going to use it as it is to save time now. So I'm going to call calculate score inside rich edit dot lines dot add output dot lines dot add. And then we have to write in a message, popularity 4. Popularity 4 plus, now we've got to go and get name. Get name. We set name. How are we going to get that name? Actually, there's no get name method, so we're actually not going to use it. Okay, we're not going to use it. We're just going to say popularity is, and then we say calculate score. Remember, calculate score was going to return these strings, high, medium or low, and then you write the word calculate score, but you don't write calculate score. No, somebody will do this. Calculate score, but you have to write Pearson dot calculate score. And there's the answer. And we run the program, make sure it works, and it's done. And let's make it 8. And female process rating. There it is. Okay, so you try that by yourself without looking at the video.